Larry, Fort Worth Memories Museum and Groups, and YouTube at Fort Worth Memories. It is Monday, December 23rd, and it's about 6:30 in the morning. Let me get this signed in. Okay. Telling everybody good morning. Let's change the camera. That's a pretty Christmas tree. There we go. Greg and Don are in, Larry's in, Brittany's in. Okay. Cowboys won. Hey. I don't see what's wrong with the quarterback we got now, but he's already paid Dak all that money. So, I'll be here regular hours today. Tomorrow is iffy. I'll be here in the morning, maybe leave at noon or 1. If you need a gift certificate, half price. Today or tomorrow is the day to buy them. You can do it over the telephone, or you can come by and pick up a gift certificate. I'm going to make sure I have some with me. I think I do. Yes, I do. Okay. We've sold quite a few. I got the wrong ticket book. I've got it over there. I won't go look again. Okay, so I hear the telly ringing. Hello. Hey. Speak up, I can't hear you. No, I think she left it. Well, it might be on my dresser. I didn't look. Well, it's either on the dresser or on the dining room table. Are you there at the house? Yeah, it's either on my dresser or your mom's dresser, our dresser, or yeah. I saw her count it out. She put it in an envelope. I never was in on that deal, so I don't know what y'all are even. I just know you needed something, and she left it because I went to the ATM and got the money out of her account. Thank her. Okay. You're coming over when? Tuesday night or Wednesday morning? Tuesday evening. Okay. You're bringing the kid. You're bringing everybody, right? All right. Bye. Okay, so Tina's in. How was Grumps? It was great. We're going to go back there many times. Ronnie's in. James is in. No, it was real good. They treated us real good. The service was good. The food's good. Everything was lovely. Yeah, so the Cowboys won, so I guess that might save the coach's job. I don't know. It's Jerry's money. He can do what he wants with it. Here's our Cleburne group. The story of what? Casa Manana? Okay. I hadn't done that one in a while. You got to go back to 1935. I'm just going to do it on the there's West, James, West, Boston. Good morning. I'm just going to do the Casa story because I could talk about it for a week. The start of it, okay? Dr. B, I don't know. We'll call him and wish him Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. See if we can get him on there this evening. How about 7 o'clock? Does that work for y'all? I can send him a text message now and ask him. We need to wish him Merry Christmas and good luck working with RFK Jr. Dr. B is a lifesaver for many of y'all that's on the group. Myself, Wes Williams introduced me to him. Wes Williams, he's a great guy. It's not about the money. It's not like Fauci. So let's just see if we can get him on today at 7. How about this evening at 7? He's never turned us down. Well, one time when he was on vacation. He would have done it, but it would have had to have been 9 o'clock and I'm already asleep by then. Okay, so back to the story of Casa. I'll let you know when Dr. B responds. So in 1935, well, let's back it up. 1934, the governor of Texas was Paul Ferguson. Well, he got ousted because he was taking kickbacks for highway construction. That was when the roads didn't just all of a sudden appear. That they had to build them, and it was a huge undertaking. So he resigned. His wife, who was affectionately known as Ma Ferguson, became governor of Texas. Well, she wanted to cozy up to Amon and the people in Dallas. I mean, all the civic leaders of the state of Texas. And she had kind of voiced in 1935 to Amon. I bought his memoirs, so I've got it. She came to him in 35. She was in Fort Worth. She was actually in Dallas. She came to Fort Worth, met with Amon at the Star-Telegram. Then they went to Shady Oaks farm, his farm. And she said, well, you know, we've got this 100-year celebration coming up next year. I'm thinking about giving you Fort Worth the celebration. Well, Amon was skeptical because Fort Worth was not in business in 1835, and neither was Dallas. Okay, so he's kind of excited. He thinks, hey, we might be able to snag this deal. Amon always thought it should have been San Antonio or Houston. Hold on. Larry, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Scott, what's up?
Let's see. I gotta guess the score winner for you.
Okay, hold on. I didn't watch the game. The one game I didn't watch and they won, they said they played good. All right, who was the winner?
It was GG.
Gigi. Did she guess it exactly?
Not exact, but she was the closest with 21 to 24. It was 26 to 24.
Wow. Okay, Gigi, congrats. Saturday at our luncheon at Grump's, Prissy came by. She wanted to know if I had her 2 ornaments or 1 ornaments or whatever. And I said no, but I would message you, and I forgot to message you. So, do you know the status on her Christmas order? Christmas ornaments?
I got them sitting here. I just need to get them over to you or her.
Well, you can get them to
send me her address.
You can get them to me, and she'll be at the next this Saturday's lunch club meeting.
Okay, I'll bring them by.
Okay. Okay, so I'm telling the story of Casa Manana. So anyway, Ma Ferguson, who was then the governor of Texas, kind of toyed with Eamon and said, you know what? I'm really thinking about giving Fort Worth the 100-year celebration. Well, that really excited Eamon, and so he started. Of course, the host city had to come up with a lot of money. You're talking about just coming out of the Depression, so. But Eamon was a mover and shaker, so he started getting money together. In about March of '35, two of Eamon's hotshot reporters went to him and said, "Hey, boss, we've got solid proof that Ma Ferguson is taking kickbacks on highway construction. Do we run with the story or kill it?" Well, Eamon didn't even think about it. He said, "Run with it. Hell, she's the governor of Texas breaking the law." She immediately, when the stories start breaking, that's when they had a morning edition, an afternoon edition. They had some kind of special edition that came out lunchtime or something if there was some big story. So it makes headlines. Ma Ferguson, governor of Texas, taking highway construction kickbacks. So immediately the governor gets on the phone and calls Eamon. Eamon dodges her calls for 2 days, and he wants his reporters to come up with the proof. He took their word for it, but then he said, "Hey, we're going to have to go public with this. Where are the witnesses?" Well, it was the construction company. So Eamon finally, 2 days later, on the third day, said, "Yeah, you looking for me?" And she said, "You need to kill that story." And he said, "We don't kill news. You're doing the same thing your husband was, and he got run out of office for doing it. And that's the way it goes." She said, "Well, guess what? I'm giving the 100-year centennial to Dallas." Of course, she knew Eamon hated Dallas. And that really ticked Eamon off. So he started a campaign of raising money, and they raised a lot of money. And he had been to New York and seen a lot of Broadway plays. So he contacted Billy Rose, who was a New York Broadway producer, and he said, "I want you to come down here to Texas. We need to build a kind of a large area where it's a circus type event, but where they have vendors and they have booths and they have carnivals. They had a Wild West show and a outdoor theater." So Billy Rose says, "I had never been to Texas. How much you people going to pay me?" And Eamon, being Eamon, said, "How about $1,000 a day?" Billy Rose about fell over and said, how long do you think this project's going to take?" He paid him $1,000 a day for 30 days. That's $35,000 when that was all the money in the country then. So Billy Rose came down here and they built a complex. It was all farmland. Where Will Rogers and Casa and all that was, you have to imagine now, that was all farmland. There wasn't any trees. So they converted all of that. Billy Rose brought Sally Rand and her Nude Review. She was the big show in New York back in the 30s. They built this amphitheater that seated 4,000 people. It had the largest, it was the largest, world's largest revolving stage. They had a waterfall behind it that was just solid water. The performers performed in front and you could see this water during the show. And it was a huge hit. So they performed in 36, 37, 38, 39, and then in 40, with war looming for the United States, the crowd started dwindling. So they stopped production. They dismantled it and used all the stuff, salvaged the stuff for the war effort. That was back when the war effort people would come down neighborhood streets and knock on your door and they'd say, "Y'all get to keep one frying pan and one pot, all the rest of it goes to the war effort." My grandmother told me this story. They lived on Yucca. My good granddad's car was in the driveway, and she said, "Hey, here's all of our pots and pans and everything. Y'all need rubber. jack our car up and put some blocks under it and took the tires. Pissed my grandfather off. Anyway, so we talking about all of the 40s. There was no Casa Manana. 1957, the president of the Opera Association, and I'm trying to think of his name, starts with an S, I can't think of it, and Melvin Dacus went to the city and said, hey, we need in other words, the head of the Opera Association, and the only reason the opera was here was because of 2 or 3 ladies here in Fort Worth that lobbied to get it, and the only person that would listen to him was Ernest Allen, the Chevrolet dealer. So they had gotten the Opera Association started. So the city approved it. They approved a $500,000 bond in 1957. Construction started in 58, early in 58. 114 days later, the first show took place. And when they built this one, of course, it had the dome on it. The amphitheater was out in the open. And I don't know how they did it on days that it rained, because, in 4 years' time, they had to have had some performances where it was raining. I guess they canceled them. So, anyway, that is the story of Casa Manana for our Cleburne group. I have not heard back from Dr. B. He's up. He's like me. He ain't asleep. He's probably in the ER. Or, I hadn't talked to him since he's kind of been given the nod here with, of course, the president and RFK Jr. One thing about them, they both do not believe in vaccines or masks. So if you're a vaccine mask type person, this coming administration, I don't think is going to be your cup of tea. And I think they're also, along with the president, against Big Pharma. Big Pharma makes too much money. Okay, what did I hear? What? Giving pardons to all federal. Yeah, well, he didn't commute all the death sentences on federal prisoners. He left. I don't guess Kaczynski was ever on there, but he left the guy that did that Charlottesville deal. He left about 3 still going to be the death penalty. The other ones, he commuted to life without the possibility of parole. All that did was put more cost on the taxpayers. A lot of those facilities, not in Texas, in other states, it's up to $800 or $900 a day it costs to house one of those idiots. So, anyway, I'll let y'all know when Dr. B responds to me. I'll be here today, regular hours. Tomorrow I'll be here early. Probably cut out of here at noon or 1. Detail certificates, you can do it over the phone. You can call me. Or you can come by. I'll be here till 2. $150 or half price. What else? The interview on Saturday with Rusty Arnold, part 2, was really good. He, in fact, met us over at Grump's. He and his wife and her sister. And there was, if y'all listened to the interview on Saturday, there was a girl named Tina and another girl that everybody kept talking about their father, who I think owned a wrecking yard, and that's all going back to that wrecking yard. And he told me at lunch on Saturday that he thought he could get them to come on, so we might have a part 3 coming up. But today is the 50th anniversary. About noon or 1 o'clock today, 50 years ago, those 3 girls got in a car. They drove to the Army Navy store and picked up a pair of bell-bottom jeans they had in layaway. Rachel, she put them in the trunk in a sack, the package that was in the back seat of the car that everybody says, well, they went back to the car, they didn't. That package had been given to one of those girls a couple of days before. So there's no evidence that those three girls ever got back to the car that was found in the upper lot of Seminary South. But here in a few hours, they've been missing for 50 years. And the only piece of evidence is the letter that was received on December 24th. I don't know how in the hell that happened. And they basically said, we know we're going to catch hell, but we just had to get out of town. We'll see you in a couple of days. And that's the only communication ever, anywhere, anytime. So there's not a lot to keep interviewing over. It's never been solved in 50 years. Everybody's got their ideas on who they think were responsible. I'm going to try to, if anybody knows that Tommy Trelisa, he lives somewhere in Texas, Rusty said, I'd like to see if we can get him to do an interview, even if it's just over the phone. So if you know Tommy Trelisa, who was married to Rachel at the time, Rachel was Rusty's sister, get a hold of him, call him, see if he's interested in coming on. I mean, he can do it over the phone. I don't think he lives in Fort Worth anymore. But apparently he was married. Rachel was 17 when she was married to him. He had already been married once and divorced. He married Rachel, and then I guess he got that. I don't know how that happened. Had to wait 7 years to get her declared dead, I guess. But he married 3 more times, so I guess he was married a total of 5 times. So I think he would be an interesting person to interview, but I have no clue on how to get a hold of him. But we have a great research department, which is all of y'all. What else did we? I had a lot of questions. When are we going to take the tree down? I guess the day after New Year's. We've got the backdrop up. If you want to come by, if you were involved in Larry's Kids, there's the backdrop. Come by and we'll take your picture. We'll make you famous. Scott, do you have? I need to read the list of sponsors. I'm going to get with Eric Walsh, and he was going to get me some. I've got a photo of him, but he was going to tell me his other stuff to post. You got anything else that you want to add?
No, I don't have anything.
And I think they come up again and play this Sunday coming up, don't they?
No.
If y'all need a website built or anything, Scott's the man. I don't know how he keeps all of this stuff running.
This Sunday at 3:25 against the Eagles.
Wow, that ought to. Well, they're already knocked out. They were knocked out yesterday when Washington won. There's no chance for them, but at least they played for pride and character and played.
Right.
I understand they played real good. One of my sons called me and said, "Dad, you missed the best game of the year that they played." But I was worn out. We had so many grandkids. Yeah, over the weekend it was unbelievable. Okay, so let's do the sponsors. How come the sponsor thing isn't working? Oh, there it is. Local agents, local care. That is Casey Crawl Insurance. They're our Medicaid, Medicare insurance folks. Clay Winstead Paint and Body. Techstar Pools. They build you a pool, remodel yours, do the outside rock work, whatever. Schwartz and Hanson, Jerry Schwartz, they're architects. They've been sponsors and given to the giveaway for years. There's Rex Benson, our friend. He owns Rex's Bar and Grill, which is the old Macaroni Grill, and he gave me an opening date, January 15th. we're going to have our boxing in Cowtown program and our birthday party this year at Rex's Bar and Grill. Rains Plumbing is a family-owned plumbing company, and I've really had about 15 or 20 great reviews on them. There's our friend Charlie Guerin, Railhead Barbecue. Charlie is a member on my board. Larry's Kids. In fact, he was the second top producer. I was the first, Charlie was second. Passport Getaways is our travel agency. If you want to take a trip or a cruise or whatever, those are the folks to call. Optimist Club of Fort Worth. I'll have Jeff Norman on after sometime in the first of the year. He's going to tell us what all the Optimist Club does for our youth. Old South, there's another Rex Benson owned company. The Bensons have owned it since 1962 because I used to do some work for Dave Benson, Rex's daddy. And then he's got, that one's open 24/7 on University. The one in Burleson's open, closes at 8 or 9, 10 at night, whatever. K Ranch Roofing is our roofing sponsor. Jenny Stewart is our State Farm insurance lady. There's also rumblings that she's going to run for District 9 City Council. David Hart, Hart Painting. David and Sherry Hart are very active in the community, as they are with all of our stuff. And so if you need any painting done, they're the folks. Brandon Cross, Cross Electric, if you need an electrician. Fort Worth Lumber Company, they have been with me for ever since I started on Facebook. I need a sign company. You know somebody that's got a sign company. Express Dent, Dick Regester is the owner, the guy that started it, and his operating partner is Eric. Dick lives in Florida now. Dickie Carr Sand and Gravel, that's Pat and Richard Carr. They're very, very active in civic and helping people out. He was the first person to write a $5,000 check for Larry's Kids, and he does a lot more than that. There is Dickie Carr, Richard's nephew. He owns a company called Grateful for Your Trees, and there's a list of everything they do if you're watching on YouTube or on any of the Facebook platforms. Steve Coburn, Coburn's Catering. In fact, I went over and saw Steve last Friday, Thursday or Friday. So they cater any event that you've got. They still do a lot of stuff at the stock show. They just don't do the backstage. There's Burt Ladner Real Estate. Wes Williams is associated with that group. There is Dub Peacock's A-Bird AC and Heating Inc. So if you need to have your unit checked, that's the folks to give a call. You know, when winter really sets in, everybody will be trying to scramble to get an appointment set up. Do it now. And Eric Walsh is also a real estate sponsor. And we need a lot more. We need a florist. We need a tire store. We need all kinds of stuff. If you haven't heard me rattle off one of these people's services or goods, and you know somebody, tell them to holler at me. Cheapest advertising they can do. And on average, our daily views is about 45,000 people. You ain't going to get that with anything else, I don't think. Trying to think what else. We need to basically pray for everybody on the planet. I'm trying to get an update on Renee and on Gene Dimick. They're both in bad shape. Grumps again was great. We'll go back to it. We used to go to Polito's over here on Polito Street pretty often Well, I'm going to interject Grumps into that because, man, that thing's huge. I never went in it when Ricky Stewart owned it. It was Chicken Express. But it's great. The service is fantastic. The food was good. It's kind of a little bit of a different twist to a hamburger place. If you're a senior, they give you the child's prices off the child's menu. Going into 2025, Larry's Kids is going to be involved in, of course, our annual bike giveaway. And then there's some other stuff. We're going to have a board meeting and see if there's some other stuff. But it went off great without a hitch. I was really worried that would, but we ended up giving away 1,120 bikes, which puts us at 19,550, which means we've given away $1 million worth of bikes that they're valued at $50. It's not actually $1 million; it's 980,000, I think. Next year we'll go over 20,000, and we will go over $1 million in bike giveaways, and that'll be in 39 years. So that didn't just happen this last year. I've been giving away bikes for 38 years now. So, Scott, you got anything you want to add?
No, I don't have anything.
Don't forget, if you got computer problems, you want to do a website, what you need to do is instant message Scott Sumner, and he'll call you. He's always busy, so don't think he forgot you. He just takes them as they come. So the Cowboys won. Great. Anything else anybody wants to talk about? I'm actually not seeing any comments. Let me look right quick. Peppo will be 36 January 5th. And he was a mess this weekend. My youngest grandson is Mateo, and he sits there and stares at the bird, and the bird stares at him for hours. I mean, it's the dangest thing I've ever seen. Have I ever thought about writing a book? I'm actually currently working on a book. Did who answer any questions? Those questions. Are you talking about Rusty? I think I called him off to him as the questions came up, and if he chose to answer them, he did. There was questions that were written by Kelly, who is related to Rusty, and he didn't answer any of hers. He said the girls went missing before Kelly was even born, so she doesn't know anything about it. But I mean, it's still part of her family, and she lives in somewhere in East Texas by Tyler or somewhere. Marshall. She lives in Marshall. So, but Rusty's done several interviews, with this being today, the 50th anniversary. I think the Star Telegram wrote something about it. It's the dangest thing I've ever heard. I don't think the girls ever left Fort Worth. I don't think they were alive on December 24th. I just don't know how they got 3 teenage girls into a car. It had to be more than one person, unless they knew them. So my theory is somebody that they knew came up, pulled up as they were walking to their car and said, "Hey, your mom's in the hospital," or "Somebody had a wreck, y'all jump in, I'm going to take you to the hospital," and then went and did whatever. But I mean, that's just my thought. Because there's no way, when we were growing up in that era, the girls were almost as tough as the guys, and they would fight you at the drop of a hat. And for one person to kind of capture three girls ages 9, 14, and 17, that isn't going to work. Even if he had a knife or a gun, one of them's going to run, you would think. There was a few. He said he may talk to you off. Oh, I don't know. I'll have to look that up. Rusty and I have talked for years. There's some things that, yeah, he did talk to me about some things. Apparently, the cold case detective or homicide unit has got somebody in mind, and it had to do with those two girls that Rusty's trying to get to come on the show, that their dad owned a wrecking yard or something. I don't know that whole story. Okay, so I'll let y'all know about Dr. B this evening. If he's available, he'll come do it. He's a great guy. He's saved. We got a count. I said there was over 100. There was 98 of y'all that went to his Regeneron system out there in West Texas. A lot of y'all have been following him like me. March of 2020 is when I first even heard his name, and that was from Wes. And he said, "Hey, you need to call this guy." And so he has saved a lot of us. I started doing that budesonide and the mouthwash, his whole program, March 26th of 2020, and I've never stopped. When I was associated with the Kansas City group, there's a story that's being done in Texas Monthly, but I can't talk really about that. I'm doing a separate deal about that lifestyle that I was in, but it won't come out until I'm no longer here. Yeah, but I was associated with that group in the 70s, really in 69. Okay, Scott, I will see you. I'll be here today, tomorrow, then I'm back Friday and Saturday, or Thursday and Friday, for you to drop off Prissy's Christmas ornaments. Y'all have a Merry Christmas, and I will